This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra. Our digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country, including Pad FM in Damongo, Jubilee FM in Keta, and Sunshine FM in Boku. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at manjoonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, SuperSem, Build Your Dream, and Telisol 4G, Just a Touch. And coming up, Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council gives opposition NDC 3 days to apologize for comments made by one of its officers suggesting their king drank water with animals prior to the NDC's assumption of office.
A direct, clear, and unambiguous public apology be rendered by the leadership of the National Democratic Congress to His Royal Majesty the Ochehene and Ochimai.
We have details as residents stage a demonstration. Also coming up, beaten and left with sore penis. Family of 38-year-old pushing for justice for their relative allegedly assaulted by police in the Bono East region.
We want a thorough investigation to be made so that we identify these men who did this act and then seek compensation for the victim.
We have details of this coming up. And the story of a 20-year-old girl who became HIV positive after she had unprotected sex with a man in exchange for exam registration fees.
I had no support, so I was working. That's where I met the man. So he guaranteed to pay for my remedial fee. And later on, he invited me to his house. I didn't know what came, and we had sexual intercourse.
And as Ghana commemorates Nkrumah Memorial Day this month, we hear from a former General Secretary of the Christian Council who's worried about Ghana's brand of politics, which appears to exploit its people.
When we are close to election, this is a country that we know how to send ballot boxes to every corner of this country, every village, whether the roads are good or not. But we don't know how to send development to communities.
Details of these coming up in the next 30 minutes. I'm Fred Smith. Stay with us. In our first story, the Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council has given the leadership of the NDC 3 days to render a public apology to the Ochehene for some unsavory comments an Ashanti regional executive of the party is said to have made about their king. During a protest march in Kumasi, the Ashanti regional secretary of the NDC, Kwame Zu, was heard making what the council considers to be uncomplimentary remarks about the Achim overlord. The man is said to have suggested that the king drank water with animals prior to the NDC's assumption of office. The Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council has condemned the statement. Listen to State Secretary Daniel Mafo-Fori.
A direct, clear, and unambiguous public apology be rendered by the leadership of the National Democratic Congress to His Royal Majesty the Ochehene and Ochimai. A ritual pacification be performed to appease His Majesty the Ochehene. 3. An apology rendered personally by Mr. Kwame Zu to the Ochehene and the public recantation of the offensive words and specific conduct complained of. 4. Invocation of appropriate disciplinary sanctions of the party against the conduct of Kwame Zu. Should they choose to ignore these pronouncements, may I repeat, should they choose to ignore these pronouncements and demand, Nanano will not accord them any future request for clemency and redemption of their customary transgressions. If they fail to heed, the National Democratic Congress, its ward executives, branch, constituency, regional and national executives will be banned from all official functions under the auspices of the Oforipenis too, and shall be declared persona non grata in all palaces of the over 940 towns, villages, and settlements in Achim Ebuakwa.
And so you had the State Secretary for the Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council, Daniel Mafo. There, we can take you live now to Chebi, where my colleague Maxwell Kudako has been following that demonstration. Maxwell, what were the concerns of the protesters?
Well, they protested. Largely, the chiefs and people of Achim Ebuakwa says that there is a deliberate attempt by leadership of the National Democratic Congress to attack the integrity of the Oforipeni stool. They recounted several statements made by leading members of the NDC that did not go well with the Oforipeni fee. They said not quite alone, the former Chief of Staff, Mr. Julius Zebra, and the leadership of the NDC attacked the Oforipeni stool when the Ochehene led some chiefs from the Eastern Region House of Chiefs to tour some deplorable state. They mentioned that in recent time, Mr. Stan Dogbe also attacked the Ochehene shortly after he passed a comment about the demise of a former Vice President, Mr. Kwesi and Mr. Atta. And then the recent one happens to be a statement made by the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the NDC. They believe that if the leadership of the NDC at the national level do not condemn this act or this comment or statement by its assigned and its leaders, it means that the leadership of the NDC endorses this attack of the Ochehene and the Oforipeni. So they are demanding an immediate apology from the national leadership of the National Democratic Congress. Other than that, they are going to declare the NDC executive and any other person who has any relations with the NDC persona non grata within the Achim Ebuakwa kingdom or any.
Yes, Maxwell, and as we've heard that from the State Secretary, we'd like to say a big thank you for that update. In the studio, I have Joseph Akable. He has an update. There's a statement from Mr. Azu. He is said to have made that statement. What's he saying in this statement?
And so, Fred, portions of that statement reads that the said statement was used in good faith and figuratively to underscore that the Ochehene did not drink different water from his subjects, again flowing from the love he has for his people. It goes on to say that after deeply reflecting over the said statement and the interpretation given it by a section of the public, which interpretation is plausible, I wholeheartedly regret for making such comment. I hereby wish to unreservedly render an unqualified apology to the Ochehene or Sajifo Amweti of Oforipeni, the Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council, and indeed all Ghanaians for the said statement. It goes on to say that I revere and have always revered the chieftaincy institution in Ghana, and for that matter hold the Ochehene in high esteem and would not deliberately undermine the chiefly powers of the Ochehene, who has over the years shown great leadership. It ends by saying that my sincere apologies to the Ochehene or Sajifo Amweti of Oforipeni and the Achim Ebuakwa Traditional Council and all Ghanaians. Signed, Kwame Zu, Ashanti Regional Secretary, NDC.
Well, many thanks to you, Joseph Akable, with that update. That statement from Kwame Zu is accused of passing some unsavory comments about the Ochehene. She needed some money to reset her final exams after she failed in 2 core subjects. A man twice her age offered to help but demanded a night under the sheets. Pressured, 20-year-old Akusua, as I choose to call her, succumbed, but little did she know that he was HIV positive. Now he's one of over 335,000 people living with the virus in Ghana. She has been sharing her story with Joy News' Faustina Safo in her latest Hotline documentary, My Status.
Adolescents and young adults represent a growing share of the number of people living with HIV and AIDS worldwide. According to a UNICEF report, 510,000 young people between the ages of 10 to 24 were newly infected with HIV in 2018 alone. 20-year-old Akusua, as I choose to call her, is one of the over 316,000 students who sat for the 2018 West African Senior School Certificate Examination. Days before the examination, all Form 3 students were asked to assemble at the dining hall. Medical practitioners from a non-governmental organization had come to lecture them on HIV and AIDS. For Akusua, it will be the first time she gets tested.
So after they were done with the talk, they told us to go and test. So I went to test and it was negative. So I was free, I went away.
Once the results were finally out, but contrary to expectations, Akusua failed in 2 core subjects and had to resit the exams. Her parents could barely afford her fees the first time. Paying for another was beyond their means. Akosua started her own business selling noodles at night with the hope that she would be able to gather enough money to resit the exams. It was on one of those fateful nights that she met Kofi, a man in his 40s, who offered to help, but at a price.
I had no support, so I was working. That's where I met the man, and he said the way I'm hardworking, he wants to help me. So he guaranteed to pay for my fees, my remedial fee. So he gave me the money to go and register, and later on he invited me to his house. I went to his house. I didn't know what came, and we had sexual intercourse.
Intergenerational sex occurs when a young woman decides to have intercourse with a man 5 or more years older, and vice versa. Months after their intercourse, Akosua started experiencing unusual symptoms.
I started falling sick here and there. When I go to the hospital, the doctor said nothing was wrong with me, and they don't even give me medicine. Sometimes I'll come to the house, I'll be crying, then be praying. I had an anointing oil. That's what I'll be drinking small.
Doctors told Akosua her symptoms pointed to a stubborn vaginal infection, but even after completing the prescribed dosage, Akosua's condition deteriorated further.
I heard Faustina Safo with that report. My status airs tonight on the Joy News channel Multi TV at 8:30 p.m. Do make a date. Now, still on issues related to sex and perhaps marriage, let's talk about this. Imagine being given out for marriage against your will, and more so experiencing this when you're a minor. Well, that's the reality for some teenagers in Sakasaka, a suburb of Tamale in the northern region. According to the girls, they are maltreated by their spouses. Joy News intern Sally Nana Ikuabuajua visited the girls and has come through with this report.
In Ghana, child marriage is prohibited under the law. This is underscored by the Children's Act. Despite the legal framework, the prevalence of child marriage in the country remains high. 1 in every 5 girls marries before her 18th birthday, and 1 in 20 girls before their 15th birthday, according to a 2018 UNICEF report. Meet 14-year-old Barikisu, who was given out by her parents last year. With a bouncy baby boy already, she recounts how she became a school dropout at class 6 because she was given out to a man she barely knew to marry. According to her, she was married to a 30-year-old man.
I used to sell onions in the market. They forced me to marry a man against my will. He didn't offer us money for feeding, neither would he call us. I regret and want to advise that people should stop forcing young girls into marriage.
Mukarama Idrisu is Barkisu's sister. She tells me her husband has refused to care for her. The burden is now on their mother.
She is my sister. Her husband doesn't take care of her and the baby. So we are having a difficult time, but we are managing. God takes care of us.
Barikisu's husband will not agree to an interview. Bintu and Cynthia are also victims of child marriage. Both say they regret ever allowing such incidents and appealed to the Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection to come to their aid.
I'm 16 years, so I'm married. I'm stopping 6, so class 6. Let me walk class 5.
I was in class 5 when this happened. The boy's family has refused to cater for my child. My aunt is the only one helping me out as of now.
Salina Naikua Boajiwa's report for Joy News.
And our report was read to you by Benes Abu Beidu. Across the country, traditional birth attendants complements the current low numbers of trained nurses and midwives. In the Volta region village of Mangotideke, there's one who's also a chief. The whole chapter of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana is calling for training of this chief, who doubles as a traditional birth attendant in his village. ICAG and the WhatsApp group called Paddies financed a delivery center in the village following a Joy News hotline documentary by Gifty Ando Apia. Here's a report on the handing over of the facility.
And so, the singing and dancing continued into the night after the handing over ceremony of the Mangotideke Birthing Center. But there are outstanding issues, and the question is, what next for the center? The donors and some of the residents have some thoughts. The Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, one of the donors, is urging the Akotime Ziope District Assembly to allocate funds for the maintenance of the birthing center.
I appeal actually to the DC to ensure that every year he makes some budgetary allocations towards the maintenance of the place. I also appeal to the District Health Directorate to include the traditional birth attendant, Togbi Bo Moses, in their refresher training programs. And also I appeal to the Assembly also to ensure that Togbi is giving, some motivational package, money, motivate him. I also appeal to Togbi to identify some dedicated, committed people in his community so he can train. So in the event that he's no more, we will be sure that the work that he started and continue to do will still continue.
For the Paddies group, which contributed most of the finances, it is about time social clubs, especially on social media, adopt a sense of purpose that benefits communities. They say this in addition to the urgent calls for a nurse to be posted immediately.
The traditional birthing attendant definitely needs help from the government and from the Ministry of Health to partake actually in some of the refresher courses that come for their nurses, and also to train the next attendant to assist him. Pull your resources together, pull the strength of your network, and actually impact your community in a positive way.
Well, the survival of this facility and its beneficial use lie in the hands of the people and the Assembly. Here is the Agotime Area Council Chairman Seth Agbobli speaking for the DCE.
Yeah, well, the Assembly is going to take charge of this because it becomes a property of the Assembly. The Assembly is going to make sure the maintenance process goes on every year, and then we make sure that the facility also has to come with people who has to work.
These women and children are so grateful. So, if you pass by Ho or Petwe, make sure you say hi to Mangotideke, because you will not miss their signpost erected as part of this birthing center project, saying, inspired by Joy News. Kiftiando Apia, Joy News, Mangotideke, Volta Region.
And we say Ayuku, or congratulations to the sponsors of this project, the whole chapter of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, and the WhatsApp group Paddies for this noble cause. We're taking a short break on the midday news. Coming up after the break, family of 38-year-old man demand justice for their relative after he was allegedly assaulted by police in the Bono East region, which has left the skin on his manhood peeled off.
We want a thorough investigation to be made so that we identify these men who did this act and then seek compensation for the victim.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Kremasa, Ghana, so open correct mason pa, and Yamikosi super, me a super mason and casa, because our job no and yet better. They won't see how beautiful and high quality your work is. That be what them they use believe you. That be why me too. It be only super cement at the use. Cement mu cement papa. Intere me crimes in yina from because super because me the super cement and DVD ra.
Super Cement is designed to ensure that your buildings stand strong for generations. Build with Super Cement. Build your dream. Build.
You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm Fred Smith. Let's get back to our stories now. The family of a 38-year-old man is seeking justice for him after he was allegedly assaulted by police in the Bono East region. The attack has left deep cuts on his manhood, and now doctors say he struggles to pass urine. According to the family, the victim, Larry Caesar, claimed 2 community police officers at the Techiman division came to his house at New Techiman, a suburb of Tanoso, to arrest him for allegedly impregnating a 16-year-old girl. There was, however, a scuffle when the victim resisted arrest. One of the officers, in an attempt to drag him out, accidentally peeled off the skin on his manhood. There's more in the following report.
The medical report cited by Joy News from the medical officer at the Winchi Methodist Hospital states that the victim, Caesar Larry, sustained a deep laceration to the base of the shaft of his manhood, and the wound was covered in foreign materials like sand and pieces of grass. The report further stated that he sustained a cut with sharp edges on the tender shaft of his penis. According to the family, 2 community police officers from the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit were dispatched to arrest him, but during the arrest, they peeled off the skin of his manhood.
Some policemen were detailed to go and arrest my nephew. And when they got there, instead of arresting the man as they were detailed, they started beating him. They beat him mercilessly and pulled his manhood and damaged it. And then he was rushed to the hospital. Currently, he's at the hospital, Winchi Methodist Hospital.
What is the extent of this injury that you talk about to his manhood?
He's seriously injured.
And how did it all happen?
According to the victim, the police, they held the manhood and they were pulling it. So I don't understand, if you have gone to arrest somebody, why you should hold somebody's manhood and be pulling it.
So they pulled it, and what happened to it?
They pulled it, and the skin has come out. The skin peeled off. It peeled off, and it was blood all over the place.
Spokesperson of the family and uncle of the victim, David Larrison, wants justice for his nephew.
We have not been able to identify it. What we want a thorough investigation to be made so that we identify these men who did this act, and then probably we'll seek compensation for the victim.
The man is suspected to undergo wound dressing on his penis for the next 2 weeks.
And that was a News Desk report. Former General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opuni-Frempong, is urging government to create more opportunities for the youth. He was speaking on Joy FM's Christian program, Joy Time, in his presence today. According to him, it's high time struggling young people were accepted and supported with economic opportunities and quality education.
We must be a country that want to lift up young people. I want us to dedicate this day to young people, a nation that gives opportunity to young people. I ask myself, the young people who are on our streets, who are hawking, who are struggling, the young people who are unemployed, can Ghana produce many more Nkrumahs from dishwashers? Can this country produce many more presidents from Nkrofo? Young people who are disadvantaged, young people who are not fortunate to have economic opportunities, young people who are not fortunate to have quality education, young people who are not coming from positions of strength. Can this country give hope and strength to young people? Today, I pray that young people who have not been fortunate to receive economic opportunities, quality education, and employment must be accepted and supported in this country. This day must give us opportunity to do self-examination, deep reflection, that where do young people with challenges go for strength?
Reverend Dr. Opunni Frimpong also wants political parties to stop employing the services of the youth to carry out nefarious activities during elections. He says manifestos of political parties must focus on advancing the cause of the youth in Ghana.
We are abusing young people in politics. When we are close to election, this is a country that we know how to send ballot boxes to every corner of this country, every village, whether the roads are good or not. But we don't know how to send development to communities. When it's election, we know how to mobilize young people, and young people can call politicians anytime. But after election, this is a country that politicians don't know how to reach out to young people. When we need them to do dirty job, we know where to find them. But when they need development, when they need resources, this country, we don't know how to get that to them. We must do serious self-examination, and something must stop in this country moving forward. Young people deserve opportunities. They deserve strength. But it takes leadership that is not only giving hope, but yet leadership that gives hope plus action. 2020 is coming. Let us be a country that gives leadership that's a combination of hope. Bring us manifestos, bring us policies, but back your hopes with your actions. Give us example. Some of our leaders, you are being misleading young people. You are being a bad example. But young people, learn your lesson.
And you had the former General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana and the current co-coordinator of the Alliance for Christian Advocacy Africa, Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opunni Frimpong. And now listen to this.
So I want to see brooms here. Then you start to show a sign.
Well, it's barely a month after the Joy Clean campaign first visited Aveno and demanded residents clean their surroundings. Today, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, in collaboration with the Municipal Assembly, is clearing the heap of sand that had been turned into a dumping site by residents. The Public Relations Officer of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Gilbert Ankra, explained that the exercise is to help keep this place clean and also prevent annual occurrence of flood in this vicinity. Well, Nancy MFA Jadosi was at this event. She joins me in the studios right now. MFA, tell us how this place was looking after 3 weeks of cleaning.
Well, earlier when we went there, that's 3 weeks ago, the place was actually packed with a lot of refuse. People had carried waste materials from their homes and dumped them just close to the drain. But today, the place is different. There are excavators all over clearing the heap of sand that has been, turned into a dumping site by these residents. And these residents are very excited. They've been lauding the Joy Clean Ghana campaign, and they say that this is not going to be the end. They would police and ensure that people don't come back to dump refuse there.
I'm the most happiest person, because I can see that my words to the assemblyman has not fallen on deaf ears. Because the last time the Joy Clean Ghana campaign started with AME, they came around, they arrested somebody. I stood in and they listened to me. We cleared the whole place. We never relent in our effort to get the place clean.
They said
but my problem is bola container because if you are there waha maybe obi the bola be everything is stopping the panel, but ahomachina na jure ni.
So Nancy, we had those residents there. I'm sure the place is clean and there's so much excitement at the place. Let's do something on housing. The Joy News Habitat Fair 2019 came to an end yesterday, with patrons lauding the Joy News team for the opportunity to connect with players in the housing industry. If you missed this year's edition, here's a wrap for you.
The 3-day fair, which began on Friday, saw service providers in the housing industry come together to proffer solutions to housing needs under the theme, Rethinking Building Technology in Ghana, to give true meaning to affordable housing. Cleaning services, security equipment, roofing materials as well as real estate services were among the variety of stands to visit. The catch of the fair were some exciting discount packages and promotional offers by some exhibitors.
They are apartments consisting of 1 and 2 and 3 bedrooms, and it's starting from 110,000 Ghana cedis, which is relatively cheap, and we are offering that to those who are patronizing the fair today.
We are, running a promotion, so we are giving you a 20% discount on, fumigation. All the people here, that's actually the cool deal we are here to offer you.
For some patrons, it was more than just an opportunity to meet exhibitors, but also a solution to their numerous problems.
Driving to church today, and I heard it, and I said I want to pass by and see if I can catch up something. Already I've seen so many products that I may need in my future house.
We have a plumbing expertise, the electrical, and all those stuff around. So at least when you decide to put up a project, you know whom to contact.
I think this is one of the best places to come so that I can buy land. I want to develop some into a school and then residential.
Some exhibitors who spoke to Joy News were satisfied with the turnout, promising they would make it to the subsequent fairs.
We found that we got a very good quality of traffic coming through. Our main reason here is to educate the market more about the system that we offer, and I think we've achieved that very well. So we're glad, we're happy.
Patrons come in, they say, "Oh, we thought you were only into cookware. We don't know that you were in roofing and now roof trusses."
And Karen Dodu filed that report from the Habitat Fair. It was a 3-day event, and I must say I really enjoyed it when I went there. I got someone to speak to about a house I'm so much interested in. What's trending on social media, Mapito?
All right, people are talking about Kwame Nkrumah, and at Marge's group says, "Dear Nkrumah, your deeds were great, heard and seen even after you entered heaven's gates. To remind ourselves not to lose our way, we journey on the path you made and celebrate you this day." This one is from Dynamic Creativity, who says, "As we observe Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day, may we also be guided in all our individual endeavors by his undying zeal and perseverance in the pursuit for independence."
Many thanks to you, Mapito Sibidi, with that update. And that's where we draw the curtain on the news this afternoon. Our top story: Achem Ebuakwa Traditional Council gives opposition NDC 3 days to apologize for comments made by one of its officers suggesting their king drank water with animals prior to the NDC's assumption of office. For more news, log on to banjoonline.com. I'm Fred Smith. Have a lovely holiday.